What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video we are going to be predicting my Premier League 2023/2024 season from 20th all the way to the top spot. So I'm doing it on the BBC website, so it makes it a lot easier, but I will put the badges as they appear in the position. So without further ado, let's head straight into the bottom position. We're going to work our way up and reasons why as well, and also I might do the golden boot as well. We'll see how that pans out. But in 20th we are going to pick Luton Town. They're going to finish bottom of the Premier League, obviously a newly promoted side, but I do feel like it will be a bit too much for them this season. Obviously I feel like they'll get some shock results, as all the teams from that get promoted from Championship do. They get the shock results that no one sees coming, but I think it'll be a bit too much for them. Moving on into 19th position, it's going to be Bournemouth, and I think they just lost their manager Gary O'Neill as of today. He's gone to Wolves, but I don't feel like they're going to last very long this season. I feel like this is the time to go down, unfortunately. Like I said, with Luton they'll probably get some shocking results against some top end tier teams, but I feel like this is their time to get relegated, unfortunately. But they might prove me wrong, but I just don't see them staying in the Premier League this season. Moving on to 18th position, we have yet another newly promoted side. This one in Sheffield United. Honestly, I don't see them staying in the Premier League as well. I think, don't get me wrong, I think it might be a very tight relegation battle this season. Maybe, perhaps, we'll never know. But I don't see Sheffield United staying. I feel like they get relegated and then they'll probably get promoted again, and then we'll see how it pans out that. But I think they'll go down this season along with Bournemouth and Luton. So those are my three teams I think will get relegated this season. Right, so in 17th I am going with Everton. Now, the last few seasons they have struggled, nearly getting relegated in like the last two of them, I believe, and getting saved at like the dire moments of the season. But I feel like they're just going to keep being in this relegation battle. I could have easily put them in the relegation zone, but I think they'll stay up again. I think they'll get jammy third time lucky and stay up. But obviously they've got Sean Dyche, an absolutely brilliant manager. But I feel like they'll just finish back 17th. I don't know. I don't think they'll finish higher. Moving on to 16th, this is our newly promoted Burnley side. Now, obviously, Vincent Kompany has done an absolutely insane job at Burnley. I think, personally, I think they will go very far in the Carabao Cup. But as far as the Premier League, I think it'll be a little bit tough for them first season. They'll stay in it this season, and obviously next season I think they'll do very well. But like I said, Vincent Kompany, amazing job. Can he pull it off against Man City on the opening day? We shall see. But yeah, 16th is Burnley. Right, in 15th position, we're going with Wolves, or should I say Wolverhampton Wanderers. They've lost quite a few players, I think, in terms of going to other clubs. I feel like it could be a mix of season for them. They could finish in higher than 15th, so I'd say probably 13th or 14th. But I just feel like they'll finish in like the bottom end of the table. They'll get good results here and there. They'll probably go on the bad streak. In 14th position, we have Roy Hodgson's Crystal Palace, obviously losing one of their biggest key players, which is Wilfried Zaha. But I feel like they will do well. They'll get good results here and there. Obviously, they've got Eze, who's incredible. Obviously, Elise is being linked to Chelsea, so he might move there. I feel like if they lose those, they've obviously lost one of those players. If they lose Elise, I don't know. I don't think they'll get like that attacking or goal scoring threat. So I'll put them in 14th position. At 13th, I've gone with Nottingham Forest. I feel like this season they're going to do really well this season. I don't know why. Last season they did very well against top clubs. Obviously they beat Arsenal. I think they drew with Chelsea at home, and drew at Chelsea at home and away, I believe. The 1-1 and 2-2 draw there. They do put in some big performances against the top clubs, and I feel like this season they'll finish 13th and have a really solid season. In 12th, I've gone with West Ham. Now, I was going to put West Ham to get relegated, but I feel like David Moyes will somehow get them out of that, and they'll be better than they were last season, where they were literally so far down the table they almost got relegated. But I feel like obviously they've lost Declan Rice, and obviously they're trying to look for replacements. I think they're trying to sign Harry Maguire. I think they've just signed Edson Alvarez as well from Ajax. But I do feel like they will do better than they did last season, and they'll stay in it. In 11th, I'm going to go with Fulham. I feel like last season was a one-hit wonder for them. Obviously, I think they do have Europe, which will take a toll on them. When I was watching them in the summer series in pre-season, didn't look too great, I'm not going to lie. They were exposing many aspects of the pitch. They gave the ball away cheaply. I know it's only pre-season, but you want to get like the goodness there instantly. But I feel like last season for them was a one-hit wonder. They'll stay in the league, of course, Europa League, or I think it's Europa Conference League, wherever they're in. They'll get out the group stage, I think, but then last 16, I think that'll be it for them. But I think they'll finish 11th this season. Okay, moving on into the top 10 of the Premier League for this coming season. In 10th position, I have gone with Brentford. Now, Brentford are surprising us. They always do. Each season they surprise us with big results. They beat Man City twice, I think, last season. But apart from that, I feel like they'll finish in the top 10. August to January, and not having one of your best strikers, Ivan Toney, out is going to be a struggle for them, I believe. But other than that, I think Thomas Frank has done an amazing job at Brentford. And yeah, they'll be the 10th position. In 9th position, I have gone with Brighton. I know De Zerbi he's done an incredible job since taking over. Obviously, getting them into Europe for the first time in their history, which is an outstanding achievement. But I think Europe will be too much on them. I think that, honestly, I think they will win the Europa League. I do feel like, was it conference? I can't remember which one it is. I need to research it. But I feel like they'll win that Europa competition. But unfortunately, it will have an effect on the league. But they'll finish 9th. And yeah, if it's the Europa League and they win that, they get Champions League. So, I mean, it's a win-win at the end of the day. But I do feel like they'll finish 9th. In 8th, I've gone with Aston Villa. Unai Emery, incredible. I think Diaby is going to be probably somewhere top assister, top scorer this season. Will they overcome the top teams? Probably some games, maybe not. But yeah, I feel like they'll finish 8th this season. I don't know. They're in Europe as well, I think, as well. You know what? So many teams are in Europe from last season that, well, got there from last season. I can't remember. But if they are, they will go far in that competition, I believe. They might even go on and win it. But I feel like they won't finish above any the top 7 teams, which I'm about to show you now. In 7th, I've gone with Newcastle United. I feel like the Champions League will be a bit too much for them. I mean, it'll be nice to see them in the Champions League this season. I feel like I'll have a toll of them in the Premier League as well. They did very well last season. Pulled it out the bag, but I think they'll finish 7th because the other top 6 will just blow them out the park. And moving on into the top six, I've gone with Tottenham at 6th position. I feel like they'll bottle the top 4 as they always do. Obviously, they've got the new manager in who seems to be doing quite a good job in terms of tactics and high press and all that. But they blew a 2-1 lead yesterday, like they always do, and they lost 4-2 to Barcelona. So I feel like some of these same old things from the past will come back to haunt them. Hey, I could have them in the relegation zone for all that matter, but realistically, I think they'll finish 6th. Right, in the 5th position, I'm going to go with Liverpool. If they don't get another centre mid like Lavia like that, then I feel that they will struggle this season because obviously all the players are getting on a bit. Their key player is probably going to be Darwin Núñez this season. He has been outstanding in pre-season. Luis Diaz has been really good as well. But I feel like they'll finish 5th this season. They were coming up strong, I think, tail end last season. But I feel like they'll finish 5th this season. Sorry, Liverpool fan. Right, it's time for the top 4. I'm not being biased at all, by the way, by putting who I think is in the top 4. But in 4th, I think it's going to be Arsenal. I think the 3 teams above Arsenal are just going to be a lot better than them this season than they were last season. Well, apart from one of them. 2 of them, sorry. Apart from one of them. Obviously, Arsenal having got Declan Rice in. So they've sorted out that midfield area, but I feel like the attacking is just, it still lets them down. Like they have a centre forward or a striker. Obviously they got Jesus injured at the minute, so if he does come back, he might get injured again. That's the risk you take. But I feel like last season they should have won it, but this season I think they'll just finish fourth. They might do well in the Champions League. I think they'll get to like the quarter-final stages of the Champions League. But apart from that, they'll be in it next season anyway. In third, I have gone with Manchester United. Obviously, overpaying for players like the Wish Haaland. Obviously, they've got Onana in, who's I'm not going to lie, he can pass the ball from goalkeeper, so he might get some assists this season. I think he's a little dark horse when you want to add him to your fantasy football team. Because he might get some assists there, but I feel like they'll do well. I think they'll get to the semi-final of the Champions League this season, Man United, but unfortunately they might get knocked out. But yeah, the Premier League this season, they'll do very well. I think they might get to the final of the FA Cup. I'll let you know who else will get to the final of the FA Cup, but I feel like they'll get to the final of the FA Cup. So moving on to second, I've gone with Chelsea. Obviously last season was absolutely abysmal. It was the worst season I've ever seen as a Chelsea fan. But I'm not being biased. I wasn't going to put them first. I don't think they'll get first. They'll get top four, yes. Probably second is the highest they'll get. So that's why I've put them there. But they'll definitely finish top four. I feel like this season Pochettino is going to just absolutely obliterate some of the teams that you see. That FA Cup final is going to be Chelsea Man United this season. I'm calling it from right now. Chelsea Man United FA Cup final. But we shall see. Yeah, I feel like this season there will be a lot better than the last one. Better manager. Everyone knows what they're doing. Smaller squad size as well, so no one's going to be like, "Oh, I'm not getting played." Because I think last season we had like 33 players. It was absolute shambles. But this season we come up top. So that leaves Manchester City in first. Of course, City. Always City in first. You just can't. Treble winners, Champions League holders, FA Cup holders. Every season, Man City just top the bag, and obviously they've got one of he should win the Ballon d'Or this year, is Haaland. But yeah, they've got one of the best strikers in the world on their team, and they've also got De Bruyne as well. Passer 101. It's literally like Pep Guardiola can get a player and create him into something absolutely insane. And obviously they've added the addition of Kovacic and Guardiola. So yeah, I feel like they'll just win the Premier League again this season. But hey, I could be proven wrong. But those are my predictions for the Premier League 2023-24 season. Let me know down in the comments below what your predictions are for the Premier League season. It is probably going to be totally different to mine. So if you guys have enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you're new around it as well. And I'll catch you guys in the next upload. Stay safe. Deuces.